Hey everybody, what is going on? Hexlex here. I got another Master Duel video for you, coming at you with some Magnet Warrior. This time I've included a minor Fiendsmith package in the build that includes Block Dragon, as well as Adamantipator Researcher. I'll show you the deck list at the end, but when I say minor Fiendsmith engine, I'm talking just one engraver in the main deck and then the Necro-Quip line in the extra deck. Starting off with a going second game up against 60-card White Forest. I actually got matched against this opponent for 2 times in one play session. One was with Radiant Typhoon Malice, which I already made a video on, and I feature my game against this person there as well. But here they're going to go Dragoon set to pass, so we're looking pretty good as far as our ability to combo here. We're going to make the Conduction Warrior Linear Magnum plus minus, getting some Magnet Warrior bodies on board. Our opponent's letting it all happen, but as they are, I'm beginning to realize that I don't really have that many outs in this deck to Dragoon. Dragoon, of course, cannot be targeted or destroyed by card effects, so I do have an option to be able to battle over, and the Linear Magnum plus minus can pretty easily get over 3k attack points. So I'm going to try to aim to hopefully do that. We're going to make the Plasma Magnum, and then I'm going to make a classic Magnet Warrior misplay here in just a moment. First, I'm going to send the Telucian to extra normal summon Omega Plus, and then I'm going to link summon Moon to the Closed Heaven while Plasma Magnum is still on the field, which means that it is Earth, which means I cannot go into my Fiendsmith engine. Again, classic Magnet Warrior misplay. Now, some of you might be getting a little bit of deja vu here, as my opponent did this exact same thing against me in our last duel when we were on Radiant Typhoon Malice, using Sinful Spoil Subdual to summon out the Nightmare Magician. Unfortunately, here they did it as I was attacking, so yeah, I'm not able to battle over the Dragoons here. We're going to use Omega Plus to pop the Linear Magnum. Then my Moon of the Closed Heaven will be light again, and I'm able to go into the Fiendsmith plays. So I can definitely keep board building, but of course the problem here is that we still have to deal with the Dragoon. And it really is looking like battling over it is probably going to be our only option. It's not going to be the easiest thing to do either. Alright, we're going to revive the Block Dragon, link into IP Masquerade just to get the Block Dragon in the graveyard. Although I think here I probably should have used Omega Plus as a material, because then I could have still made Naturia Beast. Yeah, I don't have my normal summon anymore, so I can't normal summon either of the betas I just added. Researcher is going to find a Quackmere Guardian, which is nice. We're going to revive the Block Dragon, and then we'll just use Researcher to make Baron Diffler. I guess to be fair, I'd probably rather have Baron here than the Naturia Beast anyway. Baron pop the tails they set, prevent them from going into more plays. And then we're also going to make the SP Little Knight. Unfortunately, Little Knight targets, so that actually can't get rid of the Dragoons either. But I am going to get rid of the Nightmare Magician, stop them from being able to just like crash into my stuff. At this stage, we can also make Sprite Elf, and then I'm just going to use Sprite Elf to revive the Little Knight. Because, like, why not? No reason not to at this point. And then we can get Telucian on the field as well. So yeah, like I said, I can still put up a pretty decent board, but I need to be able to get through the Dragoons here. Now, as they went to end main phase, they're going to, or before they end the main phase, rather, they're going to activate Dragoons. I'm going to chain Quackmere Guardian. Obviously, it negates but doesn't destroy. They're going to activate again. We're going to chain the Baron Diffler, and this time they're going to use the Dragoons. However, I'm going to respond with Little Knight to tag out the Baron here. So now, not only is my monster safe, but I even get the negate again on the next turn. Now they're going to pop the Telucian instead. Now here they went to go end to main phase. I'm going to revive with Sprite Elf, but then they switched the Dragoons to defense mode, and I think I know exactly what happened here. They thought they went to battle phase, and I think they went to click on Dragoons to attack with it. But not realizing they were still in the main phase, they accidentally switched it to defense mode. I speculate because I've done the exact same thing before. So I guess to try to recoup a little bit here, they're going to make a Typhone. Although they definitely should have just kept their Dragoon out. Like, I was already just going to have to move straight to battle phase with the Baron and crash to get over it anyway. Here, the Typhone is much easier to out than the Dragoon was. We can go for Magnet Bonding. I'm going to shuffle back Plasma Magnum and Epsilon from my Banish pile to summon the Flux Oceanfeld. Now Flux Oceanfeld gets to revive Quackimir Guardian. I'm going to activate and bounce away the Typhone. Get to normal summon Guardian, pop their last face down card. They're going to chain Subdual, which will let them add that card back to hand and then set a new card, but they can't activate the new card during the same turn, so doesn't really matter here. We're just going to move to battle phase and then swing in for lethal. And there we have it. So yeah, I definitely could have played that a little bit better. I should have tried harder to, like, force the Dragoon's negate and then still have the body to out it during the main phase 1. As well as trying to clean up the back rows there, but we still managed to take that dub in the end. So, alright, let's go ahead and go into the next duel. Okay, this time we're going second against Kashtira. Another deck I haven't seen in quite some time. Although you do run into it a little more often, I find, in Platinum than other ranks. Alright, so we're going second as mentioned. We got the Ash Blossom here. They're going to lead with Ogre. I'm going to let them add Kashtira Preparations because I don't care about that card at all. And I'm really glad I let that resolve because now we can use the Ash Blossom against the Theosis. I wasn't even thinking about, oh, they might have Theosis in hand. I was mostly thinking about Maxx, to be totally honest with you. But either way, yeah, the Kashtira Preparations just did not pose a threat at all. So, didn't feel the need to negate it. The Ogre searching it, that is. Now here they can activate Ogre to take one of my cards, but it's all stuff I have multiple copies of anyway, so I don't really care which one of those gets banished. They're going to turn Ogre and Scarecash into Shangri-Ira, and then pass over to me. So, Ira does get to summon out a Kashtira monster during my standby phase. Looks like they're also going to flip up the preparations. However, we have Quackimir Guardian in hand, so the only card I'm actually slightly concerned about here is the face down card. We're going to go Deuteron. They're going to try to activate Unicorn. We're going to chain Guardian. That'll end up both negating and destroying the Kashtira Unicorn. Now we're going to go Magnet Bonding for Conduction Warrior Linear Magnum plus minus. Quickly becoming my favorite card name to say. It's right up there with the Super Anti-Kaiju War Machine Mecha Thunder King. It's another really fun one, but looks like their face down card ended up being Imperm. They're going to use it on the Epsilon, which is a little annoying, but we do have the Omega Plus in hand. Going to pop my Conduction Warrior Linear Magnum plus minus and then add it back to hand with its own effect. And now that I have two level 4 monsters, I can overlay into the Gallant Granite. And yeah, now they don't have any face down cards. Kashtira Preparations doesn't do anything because I'm not activating trap cards, nor do they have a banished Kashtira monster. So at this stage, all we have to do is out the Shangri-Ira. Probably just going to end up using Little Knight. Like, yeah, it means I won't be able to OTK them, but that's really not that big of a deal. Alright, here now we're going to revive the Block Dragon before going for Researcher. Already used my normal summon, so can't go for Naturia Beast here, but it's really not that big of a deal. Researcher, unfortunately, is going to whiff here. Not finding any rock monsters for us, but we can still make the Baron de Fleur. We're going to go for another Magnet Bonding, and I spoke too soon, actually. It's not SP Little Knight. We're going to use the Flux Oceanfeld. Very nice non-destroying way to out a monster. It does target, but Shangri-Ira only has destruction protection, and we can special summon the Electromagnet Beta in our hand, meaning that we can add Sigma Minus, meaning that we can fuse into Plasma Magnum, and we can add another Magnet Bonding, but we've already used all the good effects anyway, so we're going to go for Block Dragon, bounce it, and Ira, and then move into battle phase, as we already have enough damage on board to finish our opponent off. Yeah, I gotta give Flux Oceanfeld some props. I didn't think it was gonna be necessary, and I still think it is a pretty optional card if you're wanting to be a little bit more budget about building Magnet Warrior, but it's been coming in clutch, honestly, quite a bit. It's a very handy card to have around. Alright, let's go into our next replay. Alright, this time we're gonna be going first, and we're up against Crystron with Horus. Not Canine, but rather Horus, so let's see what we can open here to try to stop their plays. Build a board. Looking pretty good. We got the Quacky Mirror Guardian. Always love to see that in our opening hand. I'm going to lead with normal summon Quacky Mirror Guardian before activating the Deuteron. That way I can stop both Ash Blossom and Droll Knockbird. Here we're going to go for the Magnet Bonding, adding Conduction Warrior Linear Magnum plus minus, which will special summon by sending Sigma plus and Electromagnet Beta. I want to go for Electromagnet Beta here to get some access to fusion summoning with Sigma minus. Then we're going to go Fuwa, we're going to chain Ash Blossom. And they actually end up having the Maxx as well, to which, of course, we will respond with the Quacky Mirror Guardian. I love Quacky Mirror Guardian. I think if you're going to play Magnet Warrior, you need to be playing 3 copies of this card. It's so important to open for your normal summon. Also, having 3 copies makes it really easy to excavate off of the Adamancipator Researcher. Gonna reveal Sigma minus, fused with the Telusian in my hand. It's gonna allow me to go for the Conduction Warrior Plasma Magnum. Plasma Magnum gets to activate, adding Magnet Induction, which we can use because we already control Beta, and summon Epsilon. Now, Epsilon can dump Omega Plus from the deck and revive Sigma minus. And we're going to overlay 2 of our level 4s in order to make the Gallant Granite. Gallant Granite gets to detach here in order to add the Block Dragon. We're going to summon Block Dragon by banishing 3. And then we're going to link into the Cross Sheep here, I believe? Yes, Cross Sheep. Now, with Block Dragon, unfortunately, I don't get to add Adamancipator Researcher because I have already cycled through, I think, 2 of my 3 Electromagnet Betas. One of them is banished, right? Yeah, so because I have only 1 level 3 monster left in my deck, in addition to the Researcher, I can't use Block Dragon to search 8 stars worth of stuff, so I have to go Supplier and Sigma minus here. However, we can still link into Moon of the Closed Heaven. Now we're going to special summon Supplier. Supplier gets to activate, adding Quacky Mirror Guardian. We're going to link away Moon in order to go for the Fiendsmith's Requiem. Now we can go activate Requiem, Tribute in order to summon Engraver from deck. We can then equip Requiem to Engraver, which will let us summon the Necroquip Princess. Engraver can then revive. And we'll also make use of Cross Sheep's effect because we haven't done that yet this turn. We could have earlier, but by doing it at this point, we can revive Ash Blossom. I think we could have done this earlier as well, but yeah, I'm going to revive Ash Blossom here, and then that can sync with my level 7 plus minus in order to make Baron, even without access to Researcher. Of course, we also have the Caesar we just made, and then we're going to link Supplier and Cross Sheep into the Sprite Elf. Sprite Elf doesn't have anything to revive here, but it still gives some target protection. And we can go into Telusian and Block Dragon, link the 2 of them into IP Masquerena, before making the Block Dragon yet again, giving us something to go into with the IP. So yeah, I kind of had to improvise a little bit with that board, but I mean, Elf, IP, Baron, Caesar, along with the Block Dragon, definitely cannot complain about that. And our opponent, I think, actually will very much end up complaining about it, as they do not make an attempt to try to push through our board. Alright, those are the games I have to show you. Let me show you the deck list here, and we'll break that down before we finish things off. Okay, so here is Magnet Warrior with Fiendsmith and also playing Block Dragon and Researcher. Because I did show off Fiendsmith Magnet Warrior when the deck very first came out, but it was more of like a pure style build that wasn't using the synchros with Block Dragon and Researcher, which now after doing more playtesting, I do think this is actually the optimal way to play the deck. I think Magnet Warrior plays extremely well without having to use Block Dragon and doing the synchro stuff, but there's a reason kind of not to add a little bit of oomph to your end board. Now, like I mentioned before, we're on a minimalist Fiendsmith package, so only the 1 Engraver in the main deck. And then for the extra deck, it's Necroquip along with Caesar, Requiem, and Moon. Those are all the things you need for the variant of the Fiendsmith line that I showed you. If you want to add a few more cards to the main deck, you could play a more expansive Fiendsmith package, but it would also eat some more extra deck slots. Although, to be fair, there's some stuff that's pretty cuttable here. Exciton isn't super needed, second Plasma Magnum isn't really super needed, and Flux Oschenfeld is also pretty optional, but again, I really like this card, and as you saw, it came up a couple of times for us here. But all in all, it's a lot of the same starters that you're expecting to see for a Magnet Warrior, 3 of each like Beta, Deuteron, Magnet Bonding. Rocking a full playset of Sigma Minus because you're never disappointed to have this card in your opening hand. Obviously makes fusion summoning for the Plasma Magnum a lot easier. And as mentioned, with Magnet Warrior, I love rocking a full playset of 3 Quackymira Guardian. I think it's actually really important. I've seen quite a few builds only play the 1 alongside the 1 supplier, which we are only on 1 supplier. And I understand the thought process that supplier searches Guardian, so because this card is searchable, you don't need to like always open it. But opening this card is fantastic. You don't need your normal summon to do your Magnet Warrior combo line, so there's no reason not to begin your play with just normal summon Quackymira Guardian. And again, as mentioned, playing a full playset of 3 Guardian means that you're so much more likely to find it when excavating with Researcher, which is such a nice little thing to have as part of your end board, or even just to have some mid-combo line protection for your board as well. But yeah, I really like this particular iteration of the Magnet Warrior build. Again, doing the Block Dragon Synchro stuff as well as some Fiendsmith things, while managing to keep it at 40 cards and playing a good amount of hand traps as well. I think this build is definitely the one I'm going to continue to playtest Magnet Warrior more extensively with in the future. But definitely let me know what you think in the comments below, because I could see us cutting the Fiendsmith package for a little bit more room in the extra deck. That said, a lot of the stuff you would play in the extra deck is stuff that really doesn't come up more often, like some more niche rank 4s or synchro options like Nichiria Barkion or Sword Soul Changying or something like that. But again, let me know what you think in the comments below. I think for the time being, that's going to go ahead and do it for this one. So thank you as always for watching. Super appreciate, especially watching all the way to the end. Very, very nice way to support the channel. Again, very much appreciative of that. But let's go ahead now and move on to our outro. Hey everybody, Hexlex here. Thank you so very much for watching all the way to the very end of the video, which by the way is one of the best ways to support the channel. Speaking of supporting the channel, take a look at the names on screen. These are folks who have been so generous as to either join as a YouTube member or subscribe over on patreon.com/Hexlex to support. There's also perks for doing so. If you would like to see YouTube videos early, as well as some exclusive videos that get uploaded to YouTube, but for one reason or another I decide not to publish, definitely go ahead and hit that join button to see content early as well as some exclusive content. If you're looking for more exclusive content, over on patreon.com, I upload exclusive videos that are not posted on YouTube just about every single day. Whether you choose to subscribe over on Patreon, join as a YouTube member, or simply continue to watch, your support is greatly appreciated. Thank you so very much. But for now, this is Hexlex. I am signing out, and I hope that you have a fantastic day.